Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hello, Cam. This is Ryan from Issues Magazine. We had arranged to call now. I assume you're indisposed for some reason. Hit me up on Instagram. I'll keep it open, and I could do the interview anytime today. Looking forward to it. Thanks. Bye.
Hello.
Hi, is this Cam?
It is.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. This is, of course, Ryan from Issues.
So excited to finally do this.
All right. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask some questions, and you can answer them however you like. I will record what is said, and I kind of encourage you to just go off on whatever tangents you want to do. You don't have to, stick to the script or anything.
Okay.
So we'll start at the beginning. What is your name, and where are you located?
This is Camila Alvarez, and I am in LA again. I haven't lived here for 10 years, but I didn't think I could ever move back. This is where I started Period Bomb.
Nice.
And this is where I am again.
And what brought you back to Los Angeles?
Well, I've been wanting to move back here. It's kind of like my Africa point of origin musically. I went to school here for film school. I was like a child actor and performer and all that, and I moved more into wanting to be in charge of things like filmmaking itself for college, and I thought I was going to do that, and then at the end they failed me for making too artsy of a thesis across the board, and but I ended up graduating in archaeology. And so I do that on the side now, and oddly, it's kind of a good time to get into that field. So,
okay, that's really interesting. Now, when
it pays better over here, and just things are better over here. Kind of the mecca. I mean, I do miss the people in Miami a lot, but I've always wanted to work with, honestly, the person who showed me that it was at all possible to make weird music into a lifelong career and stuff, who's Ariel Pink. I just kind of randomly ended up staying at his house. It's more than that. It's a good story. I'll keep it for my book readers, but and got to witness that. And then he asked me to go on tour from Miami to California with him, and record with him finally here a serious album. And we're working on a bunch of stuff right now that I'm really excited about. So that's awesome. What finally brought me back here, and I'm so glad I can stay.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me about this thesis that you worked on. What was it? Why was it so artsy? What was so artsy about it?
It was just mostly silent with a lot, not very narrative. It had a lot of sounds. It was mostly about the sounds and of being almost catatonic and deep in an existential crisis. Very college age film, I guess. I don't know. They didn't like it. Had some very rough animations in it. A lot of it took place from behind a fishbowl, and it's just artsy, and they just didn't like it.
And who are they? What school did you go to?
Loyola Marymount. It's like trying to compete with USC and just like put out mostly horror films through their sister company, which is Lionsgate, or like their whatever, like what do you call it? I don't know. Someone alumni made Lionsgate, so they're like, oh, now we have to feed into them and always just make like horror films and not let our students do anything else.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Weird. Like, and now I love horror films, but I was just back then, I was just like, this is boring. I want to make an art film.
Well, you did get to make it, right?
I did get to make it. I was like, are you kidding me? You're not going to control what I do with my college money, like that I'm going to have to pay back or whatever, which I didn't pay back, actually. You just have to not pay that shit for 7 years and they leave you alone, everybody. But yeah, I was like, there's no way they're going to actually fail me, but they did. Yeah, and I don't think I got to keep the film, or like maybe I kept like it actually on film, and then I put it in some like college mini fridge and it deteriorated before I could pay to digitize it and all that. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a disaster, but
well,
it's okay.
And you then later you went to a different school for archaeology. Where did you go?
No. I just, they told me I had enough credits in like art history. I had like aced all my other like leading up to this point, like film school classes, you know. But they're like, yeah, you can graduate in art history or take a couple other like archaeology classes and graduate in that. I was like, that sounds cool.
Yeah,
I'll do that. Yeah.
So how long have you been working in the archaeological field?
Not that much. I mean, I graduated in it like over 10 years ago, but I did one site that was really fascinating, Little Salt Spring, and like nobody believed it for a while because it's in Florida and they don't want to acknowledge anything about the prehistoric past. So yeah, they just didn't acknowledge it for a long time. Now finally it's in some history books and stuff. It's a late Pleistocene cave 300 feet under the surface of Florida that we found that opened up through a sinkhole. And so we were diving there. There was like a giant tortoise, like some megafauna. It was like the cusp age between hominids and dinosaurs, like about 12, 13, 14,000 years ago. They were finding stuff for us. So
and
that was amazing. Yeah, that was like in the middle of Florida, like near Sarasota.
Okay. And
then
how did you get hooked up with that?
That was through my school at the University of Miami. I did a 1-year master's there. Like they just like had just opened this program and only me and one other girl named Cornelia applied. and we got in. I don't know what everyone else was thinking, but then they shut down the program after finding this like unbelievable, you know, site. Florida is just really corrupt and crazy like that. And my professor retired. He was very discouraged. We all just kind of went our own ways. But then I got to work on an amazing site recently also that 444 Brickell, which finally, like when the news hit about that, everybody's like, what? Florida has prehistoric past? Like, yeah. You think it's just like you guys just discovered that it's a good place to live and vacation and bathe? Like, it's always been a good location, you know? So yeah, it was like a prehistoric marketplace for like possibly 10,000 years old, 10,000 years straight. Like, what other landmark has been used for that many thousands of years?
Yeah. Who did you do it with? Who was your team?
Oh, it's like honestly it's the biggest site in Florida history, archaeological site. There was like everybody pretty much did that site. Like every archaeologist in America at some point went through there, and there was like kind of a lot of sketchy things about it. So that's why you know, they didn't really last too long, all of them. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to put
I don't need to. I'm not going to pry.
For your own safety, it's better you don't.
So What are you working on now?
Right now, I just got my records in from Miami, like just my record little collection. I don't have a lot, but I'm happy to have them back. And working on some loops this morning. I'm working on this song with Ariel that I'm really, really excited about. It's like we have one cumbia hit, and now we have honestly two cumbia hits.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is a cumbia, right? I think it's a cumbia. It's so good. It's got like Os Mutantes vibes to me a little bit. Like it's like beautiful. Like I don't know. The lyrics and everything are pretty strong. Like it's pretty. I don't know. Global. It's gonna go global, baby.
Where did you go when you were touring with Ariel? Like, what were your favorite shows?
We went through Texas up to like Colorado and Montana and the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
The Northwest were probably the best shows. Texas was really fun because we had our girl Gladys. Like we're always like changing up our lineup. It's just, we all don't have the ability to be so comfortable to just tour whenever. Like, so we just have to kind of alternate.
Mm-hmm.
And I have enough people in the collective to kind of keep making it work somehow. But Gladys is my girl. So those shows with her singing with me, and we're both just performing up there, really fun. I mean, I love playing noise guitar too, and not like we have a different kind of set of songs. There's some that are more pop that doesn't need the noise guitar all the time, but then there's a lot that need the noise guitar. So sometimes I'm locked behind there. Like I was not a guitarist when I started this band, and I'm still not really, but it's still hard to find other people to. It's hard to even like get myself to do the exact same thing twice, to be honest, but
yeah,
I kind of figure it out somehow. I figure out where the notes are hitting it with this bolt, like, and I somewhat hit the same notes kind of every time. So I don't know.
So what's your background? Where did you grow up?
Miami.
And were you exposed to a lot of music at a young age?
Yeah, a lot of Cuban music. Yeah, my dad would mostly just play old 30s Cuban music all the time. My mom too. Well, my mom like had a modeling school, was like in the modeling world, and she loved like 80s, everything 80s. So yeah. But my dad mostly played a lot of old Cuban music and some Beatles, and that's like about it. Like Willie Chirino, like the same few albums all the time, but they're good ones. I gotta give it to him. I guess we all like have some kind of soft spot for whatever our parents listen to. It's just gonna influence us no matter what.
Like how old were you when you started performing your own music?
Performing my own music. I think I was like 10. My mom had a modeling school. She was a model, and then she had like an after school thing. So she had singing lessons, dancing lessons. I was like too ADD for most of them. I was like the owner's daughter, so I would just do whatever I wanted, and I would just eat candy and do a little bit of each class and think I was the best. And
yeah.
Later in high school, when I was auditioning for like the dance team and stuff, I realized I need to like actually develop some skills in some things, and I started taking it a little bit more seriously. But did a lot of musical theater. But yeah, as far as I mean, I guess I didn't really perform. Okay, I think I performed maybe my own song for the first time at this mall Sunset place. And I don't remember it. I saw a video of it recently, but it was all covers. They would make me do covers. I just remember I had a band in like 3rd grade called Baby B, but we couldn't perform those songs because they were all like dirty. Like, like the three of us thought, I don't know, we just listened to a lot of like R&B and rap on the radio, and we just like thought we were fucking gangster and we're like rapping all these dirty lyrics that we don't even know what they mean and shit.
So like what were you an instrumentalist? Did you play an instrument? Did you sing?
No, yeah, I was always just wanted to be a singer. My mom would say, learn an instrument. I'm like, I don't have to. I'm gonna be the singer. So yeah, I never really. Yeah, maybe like a little bit of piano, music theory. Like it's kind of stuck with me. I kind of really got it back then, and I still kind of get it.
So let's fast forward a little bit to Period Bomb.
Yeah.
When did that project start?
2014. Yeah.
Now, are there other like permanent members, or are you kind of like a rotating cast of people, or how does that work?
Yeah, rotating cast. Like the first ones were just we had been through too much to like be really that committed to all these different shows and stuff people wanted us to play. Oh, hey, what's up? Sure. I'm in the middle of an interview, but yeah. Am I crushing it?
You're doing great.
Yes.
So tell me about Period Bomb. When did that start, and how did?
Loaded question.
How did you? More specifically, like, are you the initial? Would you write the music, or was that more of a collaborative effort, or how did that work?
I always wanted it to be collaborative. I think I was like never gave myself enough credit that like I should have a whole band to like help me figure out and flesh out like these stupid little songs I write in my head. Like, but this seems like something that we all had like a real mission because we all went through something really similar together. So I was like, all right, like we can use that and it'll be healthy for all of us, and there'll be strength in it, and people actually like bands. They don't anymore, but they kind of did at the time, maybe, because I was making like some just like very experimental like loop based music with my voice mostly, and people would just fall asleep, and like I didn't know where the hell I would play this.
Yeah.
So the band seemed like a really good idea.
So did you have trouble finding venues at first? Did you have to do a lot of DIY shows and kind of houses and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's great. Like,
yeah, I agree.
as far as venues, I wish I was playing houses right now. Like, there's the house show is a very important part of our whole DIY mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
live system that we have, part of our culture that people don't really give enough credit to, and it's dying. I
agree.
Ghost stuff, like, it's gotten really hard to keep that kind of stuff alive. Just like they're just tearing down older houses that would be affordable, making all this new stuff with all these rules and their leases, and so yeah. No, but it wasn't hard at first. We actually killed it from the beginning. It was like we kind of really did start with a bang, and had, I don't know, maybe it's like Facebook event pages helped, and groups, like people were actually a little bit more organized with that, and not just having to like it's too much now on Instagram. Like, you're supposed to remember all these events. Like, it turns into more like people just give up and they're just like, I'll just do whatever my friends are doing. Like, I think there was more of a love and appreciation for specific kinds of interesting shows and stuff back then that people would RSVP for. And we did like make an impact right away and get a pretty decent following, like pretty quickly, just posting crazy photos on some Facebook groups and shit. And the Don Bowles Hush Club was a big part of it. Like, he had an actual place for all of the different pariah freakos in LA to congregate, young and old, just moved into town, you're a weirdo, you get invited there, you're like, oh, here's the whole world, you know, all the weirdos of all ages.
Did you say Don Bluth?
No, that would be sick.
That's what I was like.
Don Bowles, from the Germs, the drummer of the Germs.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he like is the man, dude. He was holding me down the DIY scene like the whole time by himself, like living in a whatever van, like having these shows every Wednesday for a long time, like early 2000s at least, if not older.
Nice.
And it's sad that like I don't even think they're using the Hyperion Tavern for anything anymore. And there's no real center for the weirdos, it seems like, here in LA anymore. But I'll just have to fix that for you guys.
So it's interesting that, you know, you clearly have an underground background, but you also have a more conventional background as well, going to film school and, you know, archaeology and all that. Do these two things cause conflict with one another at all? Or do you feel comfortable?
Archaeology is a great career for musicians, and I have met a few musicians. There's definitely, I mean, as like touring musicians, there's definitely a lot of musicians and weirdos in general in archaeology. They're pretty cool. Like they're pretty much just as passionate as artists and don't care about the money.
Right.
Just like artists. And yeah, they're very compatible. It's, you know, it takes a certain kind of brain to be this freelance and
true.
make it work. But yeah.
So are you doing archaeology out in Los Angeles as well?
Not quite physically yet, but yeah, I did get hired by a company, and they do some paleontology, which is really cool because I did those two sites that happen to have late Pleistocene material in them before there was really much of a rush or, you know, trend in the whole country doing paleontology or caring about, you know, like we think that there's like a, you know, like, oh, there's giant dinosaur bones in these museums, they've been there, like we figured it out. No, like there's been very little progress in paleontology and money and time put into it because it's you know, goes against the biblical narrative.
Oh, I see.
The fact that now it is a growing industry, but I'm so lucky, like I kind of like realizing I was kind of at the forefront of it accidentally, because there happened to be late Pleistocene material in these sites, and now I have those on my resume, and that's pretty rare. And now there's a lot more paleontology, and the company's like, we think we can work you into paleontology without you having to get a whole, you know, other degree. Because so paleontology is dinosaurs, and archaeology is the study of humans, for many who don't know. But yeah, there is a big cross between, and I'm very interested in evolution and evolutions of our culture and of music and language and etymology, and that's my favorite stuff.
That's really cool. Okay, that's really cool. Does any of that get filtered into your art?
Yeah, a little bit in the last album, the last song. It's like the Garden of Infertility. I'm talking about the site I was on. And I don't know, I would write songs while I was digging. It's a good, very good, conducive, creative place, and that kind of site where I like even just sit on the ground and use brushes, because like the whole thing was a giant feature, and I would playing with dirt literally and artifacts and connecting to the past, and I can feel it. It's a visceral job and I love it. It does get really hard, you know, and the pay isn't that great. And I think the hardest thing for me about it is like the more interesting the archaeology is, the longer the project's gonna go on.
Right.
And a lot of times you have no idea how long? And I'm a planner, you know, I'm also a booking agent.
Yeah.
On the side. Funny, I work for Overrun booking, and it's like, yeah, I've always been a planner my whole life. I'm very freelance, and everything I do requires a lot of planning ahead. So that's the hardest thing about archaeology for me. Like, these people are like so cool, but they're like able to just chill, not knowing when they're gonna go home. A lot of them don't have relationships, or if they do, it's like not the kind of relationships I have. Like,
Right.
we have to, you know, like, I have to make music all the time and travel and tour, and so it's hard for that. It's the hardest part for me.
I relate to that. So
yeah, the more important it is, some of these people with their families, they'll be like, don't know when I'll see you. It might be some more years.
Yeah.
That's how passionate they are. It's really crazy.
That's true.
And they want to make these jobs last as long as possible, because it's not the most stable of careers otherwise.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
What was your first album you made with Period Bomb?
Yes, I'm Bleeding was a little EP we made in 2014. Living in a 2-week sublet. We did it in 2 weeks. We weren't very good musicians. I don't know how we did it, but we wanted to prove that we were like, could be kind of normal and do the thing. At least for an EP. I thought that, like, again, I was like never really giving myself enough credit as a musician.
Right.
Like, even though I was fucking lucky enough to see this motherfucker in front of me, like, literally, Ariel Pink, you know, get everything he wanted, like, with 4AD and stuff. Like, no, I'm gonna have these crazy songs on there. You're not taking them off. I'm gonna have 2. It's gonna be a double album. And I'm just like, I've only ever seen these, you know, autobiographies of people, like, amazing greats who they weren't even in control of their own music, you know.
Oh,
they
yeah.
had to compromise this, they had to compromise that. You never knew, but the best thing they made is not the best thing they made. You know what I mean? Like it's always like tragic.
Right.
And I just figured, like, the world is not going to cater to weirdos like us, like making like really weird music.
Yeah.
But somehow he still did it. But I just figured, okay, this guy's just very unique and lucky. Like, just, you know, like, but like, how many people get to see that? And obviously, like, well, are bound to be very encouraged by it. And it's like, it's this big part of what's driven me 10 years. People are like, wow, you're still going with this band. I'm like, yeah, I'm a lifer. Like, you know, like,
You got it.
But yeah, like, I still doubted or thought that I had to put together this EP that is like pretty normal. And this guy Snow White helped us pull that off. And then to go on tour, and we like immediately went on tour, what I wanted to do so bad with Snow White. And then we were just like an insane noise band in person. And we would sing a couple of the songs, but like crazy, like tripped out versions. And yeah, get away with playing pretty much whatever we wanted. And I thought that I was like really trolling the world with that. I mean, we kind of were. It was pretty badass that we were so free. I mean, so many bands are just so like tight and nervous and not enjoying themselves at all, especially singers that like play guitar.
Right.
You know? So yeah, it was pretty badass. That first tour, Red, Wet, and Brute. No, the first tour was I guess it was originally called Period Bombing the USA with Snow White.
Uh-huh.
But later got coined the Cat and the Rat tour because we had a cat and a rat. It's a long story. You have to read the book. It's all tied in the craziest ways, and it's a good. Oh, fuck! Sorry. I thought I could just put together this little cubby real quick for my records, but I did not.
So what was the content like on the first album? Like lyrically, did you write the lyrics?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so yeah, I tried to write with my bandmates, but it didn't work out. I mostly wrote all the songs, at least in the beginning, until I went to Miami, had to move out of here, very sad, and started the band over there. It's kind of a crazy thing to do, but I was like, I'm gonna try. It's worth a try. Like this band, the story, everything is too crazy and too important to me. So
then you phase shifted into
honestly, it was a lot better musically. Definitely.
Yeah, you got a new cast, sort of, and you started working on newer music.
Yeah.
And what was that transformation like? What was like the difference between your first EP to where then you headed after that?
Ariel, you can use my computer if you want. I can do my interview out here. You could trade. So yeah, when I went to Miami, it was actually more of a band. Like we would jam and come up with songs together. At least musically, we were really doing that. It was really hard at first. Like everybody says they want to write music with you or write, and I don't know. A lot of people just don't know how to just do it. Like, I guess we'll just play a few notes and then second guess ourselves and not keep playing them or not believe in it. It's all about continuing to believe in whatever little tiny melody until you fucking, figure out how to make it really good.
Right.
So these guys in Miami actually did jam and come up with songs with me. Gladys, Bobby, unfortunately, he turned out to be a huge disappointment, and Miguel at first. Gladys on the drums. Really good combination. That's the band that did Permanently Wet, which is a live album. Somebody kind of heard me playing live on the radio in Miami.
Right.
And came and showed up to this place we were having a little show at, and I don't know, he just said he wanted to record, this new band in Montreal on tour, and that he'd even go on tour with us and record all the songs and make a live album. And his name is James Benjamin, and I'm pretty grateful to him. He saw the vision. I might have been a little bratty to him at first because, like, I don't know, I was coming from LA where people like really tend to take things a little bit more serious, their commitments and collaborations, than in Miami where everyone just says they're going to do these things and they never do. I don't know, like I just felt like I've been waiting my whole life for this, and I'm like, all right, oh, you want to do that? Yeah, I wanted that for myself too, so you better like really do it because I like really fucking want it.
Yeah,
you better not be fucking with me here,
Right.
And in the end, like, this is a Break Glass Studio, this like a world-class studio that we got to do this live, which is the only way to record this, especially back then.
Right.
And he did a really good live mix, and I was mad for a while. It took a year for Permanently Wet to come out because since it was free, he kept putting it on the back burner to mix it more. And in the end, he was like, I just can't figure out what else it needs. I've been listening to it the whole year. I'm sorry it took me this long to realize it, but I think it's perfect. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, you made me delay this a year, and now you think it's perfect. Like, but I'm so indecisive with sound too. It's really hard for me to figure out what is like perfect. I don't know. I really don't. I didn't really study sound, I just studied visuals and some music and performance, and that's the one element that I do really appreciate some help and feedback on. Although at the end of the day, that I'm kind of like, well, fuck you. And what's good though, I also want to do something totally different. But yeah, that album is really raw and perfect in its natural state. So I guess I'm pretty happy that Permanently Wet was never really mixed except for a live mix. and hopefully it actually comes out on vinyl one day and the quality doesn't change much, because I think it's pretty legendary the way it is.
Speaking of vinyl, you had at least one vinyl record when I saw you guys play.
Yeah, finally, after 10 years, we got vinyl. It was not easy. We recorded for 3 years in Baltimore, and that person who's the bassist of Half Japanese, Jason Willett, very honored that he loves us and wanted to record us for free. I also helped run his record store, the True Vine Record Shop.
Yeah.
While I was there, which was lovely. It's the best record shop in America. And he has a record label that's really legendary from the 90s, mostly like him and Jad Fair related projects, called Megaphone. And they rarely put anything out. I think the last thing was like Kate LeBon or like Matmos. I don't know, like just like once in a while, like someone they like really love. And I was honored to be on there, but he doesn't have the money and the pandemic, and
Right.
so like we basically had to find the money some way to make the records. And then this guy in town, Steve from 2020 Records, helped out. So it was kind of like a Crass Lips, which is our label, 2020 Megaphone collaborative thing. And the first tour we went on it, we like got an opportunity to open for this German band Pisse, Pisse, and they didn't make it through the border. So, and then also we didn't get our vinyl sleeves in time, so we were like touring the Sabotage tour where nobody was saying that we're still playing. Period Bomb still playing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we could not get most of the venues to even say that. It was so weird. And selling these a little bit DIY records after. It was like, I was so excited to finally have records.
Absolutely.
And so we didn't sell all that many. And then on the Ariel Pink tour, like he has 20 of the best records ever made right there. He's got his whole discography. No, it's actually quite fucking awful. You have to buy his whole discography at like retail value.
Oh, wow.
For getting let go of his label. So of course, like I was, happy to not really sell too many records. Like people need to buy all those records. So
Definitely.
Yeah, so I've been kind of homeless for 2 months in LA with 200 records in my trunk. But they were also Megaphone. It was supposed to get on Forced Exposure because there's multiple labels. It didn't. Like we've just had kind of one, I don't know, crazy thing after another to get in our way from fucking finally entering really the record business and being out there in record stores and having a fighting chance, man. There's
For
always
sure.
something. They do not want to let Period Bomb in there. But like, yeah, it's crazy that no record label. Why are they all such? What is their deal, man?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's awesome. I bought it.
Yeah.
I don't run a record label though, unfortunately. But
At the same time, like you don't even really need them. So a lot of people probably like in my scene know and respect Crass Lips and are probably like, oh, I'm not gonna ask her. That's what I like to think, at least.
sure.
Like they're like, oh, she's fine, which is like I do love my label. Like I love it so much. I love every single release on there so much.
Yeah.
It's definitely my favorite label. So
Well, good. So you keep mentioning throughout this, you've mentioned your book several times. So tell me about that. What is your book and how much of it are you willing to talk about?
Tales from the Cunt. I haven't even tried yet because it feels like a wasted attempt, but I'm gonna try to put it online without it getting taken down for the name. And then the content is honestly, I think it's one of these books that are like gonna be a banned book, like in itself, and the content. I'm kind of a little bit of a revolutionary. Like it might be a little bit groundbreaking. Not gonna lie, one of those just see for yourself. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Who knows? But I have Vivian Goldman writing the blurb for the back right now, and that's pretty impressive. She's like the, kind of, how do you say, I don't know, just determining voice of music and feminism, or feminism and music. She was like the secret sauce behind all the UK feminist bands.
Yeah.
You notice why some of them have like the Raincoats and the Slips do the same song? It's because there's the same girl behind them. And it's Vivian Goldman from the Flying Lizards.
What's how much does the book cost?
$20.
Okay. I will purchase a copy next month.
Oh.
And I'll write a little review of it for free. Just for fun. I just want to read it, actually. It just sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Right now, I'm like really, like, it's really a miracle I found a house here in LA, and I am trying to do a lot of big things kind of right away. Like, I might have maybe didn't need to do my book reading at the MoCA Museum at the end of my first month living somewhere, because I need to order more books. I don't have any.
I see.
I don't have the money to order them even really right now. So I'm trying to do a pre-order, but not that many people were biting out here enough to do a solid, pre-order. And that's a big room to fill, man. And I have been trying to like have an event where I really reconnect everyone in LA, but it's hard because it's a broken scene, it's a broken time. Everybody like really likes to hide out in their own world here, and my scene has gotten a little older. Just all these factors, and just there's a lot of division between people are just like mostly just afraid of losing their career because it's all tied to social media. That's like social currency is number one, and
right.
So I think that's why people maybe are afraid to, I don't know, associate with me anymore. Just like kind of the things I'm exploring in my book. It's like, God forbid I like interview people with interesting perspectives and evaluate them. Like, I don't know.
You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Let's I'm going to recap here. So you've released a vinyl record, you've written a book, you've been in a band for 10 years that's released several albums. You toured with an incredibly important...
About 10 releases, but all of them on cassette. But yeah.
Okay. You toured with an incredibly important avant pop artist, and you went to school for film and archaeology and are an archaeologist. I would say that you are a pretty accomplished person with a pretty interesting story.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So now we will, I'll get to my last two questions. Number 2, I'll go backwards, is there anything in particular you'd like to promote that you haven't yet?
So being that it's such a big part of my story, yeah, I am going to, I didn't want to reveal this too quickly because of just other people could jump on it or whatever, but I already have a lot of good footage, and I have all this secret footage and interviews there's no way anybody else could get. So I am working on a documentary called Cancelled about Ariel and the other bedroom legends, how they're kind of all trying to be washed out by history so they can like level the playing field and say, oh yeah, music didn't peak in our lifetime. Like, pop totally evolved there for a minute in the mid 2000s to, this kind of music really actually getting played around the world that is just more evolved, and the kind of, like sedative kind of mind control music they're trying to push onto us every day so hard. And they're calling it scumbag pop. So it's like, these guys are all like the most autistic. Like, this is who you want to cancel and be afraid of, walk in fear every day. Interesting. Interesting that it happens to be the ones that have some of the most brilliant minds in our recent musical history. Can't be, because it's too powerful, Like, and it's just, there's so much to explore. It's a very vast topic, and I have a big history in calling out, like, that's, Period Bomb did start as of this place, the Church of Fun, date raping everybody. So, trying to navigate that has been, thank God I've been able to keep playing music and screaming, and all the opportunities that I have been given these past 10 years, or else who knows what would have happened to me. It didn't work out that well for some of my other original bandmates, and I still think about that and carry this on in their honor. And it's a crazy, we have a pretty crazy dark history, and nobody has cared. A lot of people have not really even read the book still, or taken time to read the lyrics. It's a crazy time in society we live in, and I just have to keep trying, taking this book around, publishing more and more. I sold out of the first 100, by the way, without putting them online or anything.
That's amazing.
Couple months. Yeah. But still not a lot of word out in the street. Like, I'm here in LA, and people still have shows and go to shows all the time in the Church of Fun. So it's like, how the hell do I get you guys to my book reading to make you fucking realize without having to tell you one by one?
Right.
So yeah, that's basically like in the gist of everything I'm working on, this documentary, getting my book out more. And I am working on like several projects with Ariel, which is amazing. It's so gratifying to, after all these years, thinking, I always felt like it was some kind of, what is that called when you liken yourself to like a god, like hubris? To be like, if he just like has these stupid songs in his head, and he just like, kind of makes loops with his mouth and whispers these songs, even though I feel so stupid when I'm doing them, and like it's gonna sound so bad, and then they come out good for him. Like, and I'm like, as I'm saying this to myself, I'm like, yeah, but doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Like, my other side of me says, and but it's just really about, I think, working at it long and hard enough to make the beautiful masterpiece come out. But yeah, to like we all could do it if we, I don't know. I mean, I think the actual content coming out of him is really like unique and special, but more than any of the other bedroom gods, even, if you will, in my opinion, just really, really authentic. But as far as like the actual quality of the music, the pop music itself, we could all do that if we just worked hard enough, I think.
Well, I know.
But it is really amazing to have him here working on it with me, making sure, like, I know for sure, like, it's kind of going to be at the caliber and quality that I most desire.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And I'll definitely...
Yeah, we're going to do something probably called Period Paint. Some other thing I think is going to be called National Garb. And we're working on like a whole Spanish album. It's going to be kind of like scanning Spanish radio waves. Because we've been really inspired by a lot of cool things. We got to play at least Uruguay together. I wanted to do all of South America, but complications, but I did get to play a little bit of South America, which has always been my dream. And I played them with him, which is awesome. And it really worked. People really did care about us out there. And like, we have Spanish songs, some of them, and just I could really see like the visceral reactions on some of these like macho men's faces, which is the most satisfying thing I could ever want from an audience. So we made an impact over there, and it feels really good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I'm going to continue to follow the development of your albums and stuff like that too, for sure.
Thank you.
Final question is there anything you were hoping to talk about that you didn't get a chance to? And if so, go for it.
No, I don't think so. I think I covered it all in that last one.
Well, that is excellent. So thank you so much for agreeing to this. I'm happy it was able to finally happen. I just really liked you guys when you played in Greenville. And I've been excited to see all the positive developments in your life the last few months.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep me updated about the book as well.
Okay. I shall.
You have a great evening.
You too.
Goodbye.
Thanks again, Ryan.
Thank
Bye.
you. Goodbye.